Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, I think after Celebration now we want to kind of talk about the state of Star Wars, maybe what our favorite things or maybe our disappointments even are from Celebration.
Fair enough. Hopes, fears, and the current state of the franchise.
Yeah, let's go right on into that. Like, what was your favorite news? Do you have like a favorite thing?
That's hard because there's a couple different things that I
Mm-hmm.
like for different reasons. I like that we got the Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy Starfighter movie announcement. I didn't expect that.
Excuse me, it's called Firefighter. That's what like
Firefighter,
MSN
yes.
said,
That was
Firefighter?
Deadline or something that
Deadline.
said that. I saw the
Star
headline. I'm like,
Wars
Star Wars Firefighter.
Firefighter.
But I like that they came out and talked about
Mm-hmm.
that. I understand people, a lot of the comments on that video
Mm-hmm.
were like, well, is it actually going to get made? I
Right.
get that. It is in production, not just,
And there's filming this fall, which
yeah.
means there's a finished script.
Yeah, it does seem pretty concrete that this will happen. I
It has a
understand.
release date.
Yes, I completely understand
Mhm.
the skepticism, and it's not 100% outright,
Right.
but I have a feeling it's happening. I like that we actually have projects that aren't just being announced and then forgotten. It's like, here's the project, it's going into production. Here's the main character. It's happening. So I was happy
Hmm.
with that. It's post sequel trilogy, which is but I'm very curious to see a different take on Star Wars with new characters and all of that as well. Not that we haven't gotten any of that. I mean, The
Okay.
Mandalorian is a somewhat new take with new characters, and then they put a
Hmm.
bunch of old ones back in there. But you get my point. I also really like the Visions announcement and
That
how they
was one
seem
of
to
my
be.
favorites.
Yeah, I saw some people again talking about, oh, it's not even like real Star Wars. It's just a different version or different iteration. And yeah, okay, that's a fair argument.
Hmm.
But I don't mind seeing a different take on Star Wars. If you're going to be in the canon, you have to follow. I know I'm
The
crazy.
rules.
You have to follow the strict rules. That otherwise, to me, then you're not Star Wars. You're just trying to use it for your own
Hmm.
whatever. But if you want to take the concept, you want to take that galaxy and kind of go outside of it and make your own version of it, I'm fine with it. I do that. I do what if stories. I'm working on a big one right now. I hope to
Hmm.
have it up in a few days. We'll see.
One of my favorite things about Star Wars Visions is everything is different. They're all shorts, which I've complained about, but now with Star Wars Presents coming, I'm not as concerned about that because
Yeah.
it means that they do have a possible future to develop into more of a show themselves. But I love how they mix different cultures depending on what part of the world they are, because Visions Volume 2 took place all over. And there were so many different animation studios that used their own individual styles, they used their own folklore,
Yeah.
that I really do enjoy watching them because every one of them is different. I can't say I'm bored or disappointed because I don't have long enough to be bored or disappointed, I guess.
True.
I find them unique, I find them refreshing, and I would love to see if some of the ideas from Visions could possibly someday make it into the main Star Wars.
Yeah.
What's to say we can't have a studio that people love so much that they go, tell us a Star Wars story. You can have the next animation project that's in the canon.
Yeah, but to wrap that up, because we're not talking about visions
No.
per se.
We're talking about what we like.
I'm happy that they're seem to be embracing it more. I'm fine with that as long as you can make good, real, quote unquote, real in canon Star Wars. Yeah, do some fun stuff with it. Why not?
Another win column, let's say, is Maul.
I had my. I'm super excited for that because I love Maul. I love the Star Wars animated stuff for the most part. There's Resistance and a few other things that maybe weren't perfect, but I'm super excited. And yet, there's that part of me that's like, do we need more Darth Maul? I mean, Sam Witwer's doing it. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to love, but at the same time, and I'm not complaining.
Right.
I'm gonna love the show, or I'm gonna watch the show and probably love it. It's probably gonna be great. But there is that part of me. It's like we could have done something else, right? Maybe.
But they're trying to bank on something tried and true.
Yeah. Well, I
The
don't
Bad Batch took a
blame them for
while
that.
to get rolling with fans, I think. I think season one, a lot of people were disappointed in Omega. They fixed that.
I
They
think.
listened and they adjusted.
Yeah, I think they tried to do better with her as the
Mhm.
seasons went on. And I really feel like there's also this part of me, and I don't know that I'm upset, but there is a part of me that feels like if this is going to be kind of darker and grittier and edgier, that they are kind of abandoning the younger audience, the ones who were, your kid, you got into Bad
Mhm.
Batch or Clone Wars. The show kind of grows up with you. This one feels like it's going to come out of the box a bit more mature, which I'm cool with.
Based on what I've seen from the
Yeah.
pirated trailer thing, yeah, it's for adults. It's
Yeah,
violent.
which is cool. I'm all for that. I'm not complaining, but at the same time, there's that part of me that's like, yeah, you should still every now and then make that
Mhm.
Skeleton Crew, which it's an all ages kind of entry point.
Maybe
And
they're
this
just
is
doing
going to be
less of it, and they will come back. I mean, I know they're finishing up Young Jedi Adventures this year.
yeah. But I mean, that's for
That's
young,
for the young.
viewers. But yeah, I'm not upset, not complaining. I don't
Mhm.
want it to come off that way. But it is curious that they seem to be like, yeah, we're just going to take the animated series and go to the more darker side.
Okay. Now, I have something for the disappointment column. I have a couple things for the disappointment column.
I got a lot for the disappointment. Not necessarily about Star Wars, about Celebration, but yeah.
But this is from Celebration from my standpoint. Number one, I'm angry that we're waiting another 2 years for a Celebration.
Yeah.
Man, I get it.
I mean,
that would be next year. They could have a Celebration going right on into the Mandalorian and Grogu. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it gives them time to debut a trailer for Starfighter.
Starfighter, yeah. Which, well, they did. That was one of my complaints for this year. Is like you didn't do a wide release of the Mando trailer. It seems like everything. Like I get it. You went to Japan or you live in Japan and you got something special. You got to see things other people didn't, even though people watch it online pirated. But it's like share this with the whole fandom. Even if you put every moment of every day of that convention online, you're still going to get a ton of people going there because they want the experience of being there. So make Star Wars Celebration a celebration for everybody who can't afford to go to Japan. And just put the streams on YouTube or wherever you want to do it.
The next thing I'm extremely disappointed about, video game news. We heard nothing about Star Wars Eclipse, which we were promised was still in the works.
Yeah.
About the KOTOR remake, which is supposedly also in the works. About the next Jedi Fallen Survivor Rebirth.
Yep.
I know that's not what it's called. That's
title,
just my
that's her
joke.
title for
I'm sorry. I keep calling Jedi Survivor Fallen Survivor.
Yes, that was the joke.
And now it's Jedi Fallen Survivor Rebirth, because I'm calling the new one Rebirth.
I hope it's called Rebirth.
It's not going to be called Rebirth.
It's not, but...
But yeah, we got next to no video game news, aside from Fortnite getting some character skins.
Which is cool. If you like Fortnite, I don't want to diminish it. That's cool for you. I don't know anything about Fortnite. I'm not really going to get into Fortnite.
In the game that's releasing next year, Star Wars Zero Company from BitReactor.
Yeah, that got quite a bit of stuff.
But that was it. We have other projects that we knew are in the works. We got no word on them.
Yeah. Just a little something would have been cool.
That was a little disappointment for me.
A little bit. Yeah, no, I get you.
Okay.
Like I said, my biggest disappointment again was just how the way they handle Celebration. I think they've done it in years past where you just put all the panels on. There's no reason not to.
Well, even if you do get to go, it's a lottery system to see if you'll actually be able to get a seat to see things.
Yeah, when
it kind of sucks when you walk out of there and you didn't get to get any of the random chance panels, and everyone's talking about it, but you weren't there.
I've told the story before, but when it was in Chicago back in 2019, we didn't get into a single panel. We lost all the lotteries, and then we waited in line to go see the Hasbro stuff because that wasn't in the lottery system. You just had to wait for a couple hours.
And then watch all the people who had the special passes just get to skip the line. I was like,
Yeah, it's like being at the amusement park when they're like, I got the fast pass or whatever they call them. But anyway, I mean, that's my complaint about Celebration is just share it with the whole community. Why not?
All right, and as to the current state of Star Wars, I think 2025 is going to be a slog fest to get through the rest of the year now.
I'll ask you this before we go into that, because I agree, 2025, other than Andor Season 2, then there's also
Visions.
Underworld. There's nothing else. And Visions too. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, no.
It feels like it's a light year because
is.
I think the next year's so packed. But like, here's my question kind of related to that. Do you feel better, worse, or about the same about Star Wars after Celebration?
I feel better. I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but I have a lot of hope for the Mandalorian Grogu movie.
Person.
I have a lot of hope for Starfighter. I think putting Ryan Gosling in there is smart to try and put some star power behind it. I have hope for Ahsoka Season 2. I know Season 1 was kind of, either you loved it or you were disappointed. There wasn't. But I like the story. I want to know what happens. I want to know what the Mortis story goes.
I'm curious for the story.
We've been waiting for so long to find out more about the Mortis story that I want to know.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy Season 1 as much as some people did. I didn't think it was as terrible as some people did. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed because I really wanted the win for Dave Filoni, as I've said before, but I'm curious to see what they do with Season 2, what these ideas are, and what we do with Thrawn now that he is back in the his old neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Are we going to try to do something heir to the Empire? Because we heard Rosario Dawson saying there's some big war coming. So what are they going to do with all that? I'm curious. And as for my answer to the same question I posed to you, I'm slightly more optimistic. I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't know that it was like, oh, I'm blown away, but they did everything they needed to do right for the most part, other than not sharing the panels. I loved that we got Starfighter. I loved that they talked about a lot of the things upcoming, but I think there needed to be a few more announcements. Like, the games could have been cool. Another show announced could have been really cool. Kind of like a road map like Marvel tends to do.
Well, I think they were smart by not going too into movie projects.
Yeah, because they've
Because
announced
they
so many and
did.
failed so many. Yeah.
2 years ago, they told us about the Rey movie. They told us about the Dawn of the Jedi movie, and they're still backburnering.
Yeah.
So I think by not going, and these are the next 6 things we have coming out, and here are their release dates, I think it was smart to go, here's one that we know is going into production in the fall. Yeah. We have a set release date for it. This is kind of cemented in a way.
Yeah. I don't want to sound hypocritical because, like I said, I just asked for a roadmap. I guess what I'm asking for is, like, I want to know that there's a plan. Tell us there's like a plan. This is kind of where we see the franchise going right now. This is the direction we're heading in. This is how we want to make things right, even though you won't, or they won't acknowledge the fact that maybe things haven't been right lately. I get that. But I just wanted a general sense of like, hey, we understand maybe we've hit some speed bumps. Here's our plan. Here's where we're trying to take this franchise. And I don't know that I got that necessarily, but the immediate future seems like they've got, hopefully, things under control.
So I feel more optimistic. I feel a little modicum of hope, and I want to. I want this franchise to be better. I want it to come out of the ashes like the phoenix and rise again. This is what I want from the franchise, and I'm really hoping by studying the mistakes of the past, they can lead us to a better future. I mean, that's what we want as Star Wars fans. We want them to get better.
Failure is a really great teacher. I learned from a movie once upon a time.
That one movie ruined so much for years.
It
honestly.
Did. It derailed so much.
That one movie was really the problem. If that wouldn't have been there, if it would have been a cohesive story written by one person, it could have been something instead of what it was.
Years from now, they will study The Last Jedi as the movie that destroyed a legacy. Like I said the other day when we were talking about how Kathleen Kennedy said we got to, everybody this weekend actually said it's for the fans. We do it for the fans, which is the right thing to say. And I think most of them mean it. But you had the problem with The Last Jedi is you have the Rian Johnson quote, we can't think of the fans. We have to think about our movie. And well, our movie is for Star Wars fans. And I think he lost sight of that.
That's the mistake that they made, I think, in Dune Part 2. As someone who has read the books, as someone who really appreciates the Dune franchise and what it did for literature, I didn't like Dune Part 2.
No, you didn't.
Because while Dune Part 1 didn't follow the book 100%, it was fine. It was good. It was grandiose. It was beautifully done. I loved it. Dune Part 2 deviated from the book so badly that I could not love it. Yeah. No matter how great it looked, but for people who didn't read it, it was fine. It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
It. I've never read it.
But you have to compromise. You have to make something that looks good, that tells a wonderful story, keeps the original fans, and draws in new fans. You can't alienate one group for the new.
It's that fine line of being like the old, yet being new. Because I'm not totally against the idea. I'm not saying everything has to be like, oh, we have to ask the fans for permission, and we have to do exactly what they say. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you always have to keep in mind what their expectations of the franchise are.
Right.
And sometimes you can try to push a boundary and be like, hey, we're gonna push a little to see if you guys like this, because we don't want to just do the same thing. And if that's what Rian Johnson was trying to do, I can understand that. I can appreciate that. I just think he went a little too far into, I am making my Star Wars movie, and he kind of forgot what this needed to be for Star Wars, especially in the middle of the sequel trilogy and at the end of the whole Skywalker saga.
Well, they forget how important word of mouth is. I mean, you have friends who aren't huge Star Wars fans, but they know you love Star Wars. So when a Star Wars movie come out, they go, hey Thor, do you think this is going to be good? Was this worth my time? Should I watch this? Do you like this? Are you going to say it's great even though you don't like it? No. Word of mouth is huge. And if you know someone like who's into a franchise, who's, even when the Twilight books came out, you ask someone who read the books, did you like the movie? You if they say no, because it didn't line up with the books and it offended them on a book to movie level, they're going to say no, they didn't like it. But you might get someone else who's never read the books and say, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
You have to be smart. The Harry Potter books to movies did pretty well with that. The book crowd was satisfied. They were happy. Yes, there were things we understood you had to leave out, but they were happy with those movies for the most part.
Okay, so we are both a little more optimistic than before Celebration, I think.
Yes.
I think we're trying to be, and that is a lot to do with wanting to be optimistic and hopeful for this franchise.
Right. All right, let's move into new this week and Star Wars, etc., because we have a week tomorrow. Andor, Season 2. Episodes 1, 2, and 3. We are 1 day out.
1 day out, yes.
So exciting.
And a reminder, I will try to late tomorrow night or morning, depending on where you might be, I will try to do a kind of a quicker overview of what I thought of all 3 episodes. It'll be minus Naboo. It'll be on my channel. And then the next 3 days after, I will go into each individual episode as thoroughly as I like to do.
And we'll, of course, continue covering
Yeah,
news
it'll be covered here
articles,
too.
interviews, all of the extra juicy goodness that comes out
Yeah,
throughout
we will
Andor
do
time.
Let's Talk some Andor on this channel as well. We'll be all Andor all the time. Well, and some other things.
Wednesday, there are no specific Star Wars comics that come out this week. There is an insider, but we usually don't mention those. Thursday is a voice chat, 8 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you've watched Andor before you come.
Or be okay with spoilers.
Because we're probably not going to be able to help ourselves as
It's
a
going to be an
Discord.
Andor discussion.
It's going to be, we'll be discussing that. We'll also be discussing Star Wars Celebration news because we haven't obviously had a chance to talk about that with the Discord server yet. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Andor. It's going to be a really great, probably late night conversation.
Until Thor falls asleep.
Yeah. Also on Thursday, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary. It's going to be back in theaters for about a week. So if you want a chance to see it on the big screen once again, get your tickets.
That's all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about the state of Star Wars after Celebration. Are you more hopeful, less hopeful? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.